No time left from Standard Lore. Welcome to the Worldbuilding podcast. So, today I have somebody completely random, joining me. Why don't you introduce yourself?
That was not part of the deal.
What do you mean it's not part of the deal, Justin?
Exactly that!
uh, okay, so what do you know about where the Raven Queen is?
Nothing, if I'm being honest.
Understandable. You're an IDM. That's probably why I said this would be fun, because I figured you would have no idea, like even the title of where the Raven Queen is. So, the Raven Queen actually, believe it or not, lives in the realm of shadows. Uh, we call the plane of shadows the Shadowfeld. So, do you know anything about the Shadowfeld, actually?
Also a no.
Great start, great start. You have no idea about anything going on at all, despite the fact that we're here for an hour.
You volunteered me to join your campaign. What do you expect?
Well, yes, but you also went and had, just like good luck with your character. I figured you'd know at least something with it. uh, dear. So anyway, the Shadowfeld is a dimension of black, gray, and white, where basically nothing's been leached. So, think dark vision. Um, Luckily for us, there's not really much that's ever stated on the various planes, and so this one actually does have a bit, including despair. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, believe it or not, I've actually not read up a lot on the Shadowfell either, so this is going to be fun to talk about for an hour. But this functions similar to the Fey Wilds, where it's basically on top is the Fey Wilds, then it's the Material Plane, which is where like most campaign things happen, and then there's the Shadowfell. You can actually go freely between the Shadowfell and the Fey Wilds as well as Material Plane, and so there is kind of like a little bit of leeway there. Got all that? Um, Justin?
Yeah?
Did he get that?
Kinda, maybe? I pretend.
It's okay. I don't even know if Wretched really got the full story of what I of the Nine Hells and do with him. So, uh, but yeah, uh, think of like a dystopian world when it comes to the Shadowfield. Uh, like it's very much a darkish place. As like I so kind of Wretched would fit basically right in. Um, and
That's
you got that?
helpful.
Uh, so you got the fact of like what I've said so far.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Uh, for reference, if there is a mountain, and it'll actually be a essentially a jagged rock or so in the Shadowfield, with resemblance to a skull, a heap of rubble, or maybe perhaps the crumbling ruin of a possible castle. Uh, a forest is basically like the corrupted forest that as with golf. I don't know if you've ever played that map. Have you?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So, basically, when you think of a forest in the Shadowfell, think of like corrupted forest. That's a good indication about what it is. Uh, so yeah, assume that if you're traveling through a forest, that the branches will probably like reach out and snare your cloaks. The roots, it's coiling to try to trip those that pass by. I There's also shadow dragons on this field, and a lot of undead on this bleak plane, and anything else that thrives in gloom, including like cloakers and dark metals. So this sounds like your type of plane, right?
X, I hate it.
Well, you don't really hate fun and stuff like that. Let's be real about that. So, like, this dark plane seems right up your alley. Like, don't lie. What?
I hate that it's true.
So yeah, similar to Fey Crossings, Shadow Crossings, kind of like, are locations where Veil is actually so thin that you can walk between them. Hence why I mentioned that earlier. A blot of shadow in a corner dusty crypt might be a shadow crossing, believe it or not. Same thing with a open grave. Shadow crossings in gloomy places. Yeah, like they typically find in gloomy places where spirits or death lingers, such as like a battlefield, a graveyard, or a tomb. Might actually make it to where you can cross over. Any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay, do you have all of that then?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it is a domain of dread. In remote corners of the Shadowfeld, it is easy to reach the Worldbuilding planes and assume for that it would be essentially like, for example, the Nine Hells, the Abyss is probably something that can be done. Oh wait, no, never mind. That's game planes on actual planes. So yeah, basically think of it as kind of like Baruvia, Ravenloft, through over by oh yeah, like the best known one is Baruvia, basically where like Castle Ravenloft is with Strahd. Beings of the Shadowfell, called the Dark Powers, created these domains as prisoners for the Dark Worlds, and through cruelty or carelessness, trapped innocent mortals in this domain as well. You got that at all?
Yep.
Alright, so also on this plane is Evernight, with the city of Neverwinter in the World of Forgotten Realms. It has a dark reflection on the Shadowfell, the city of Evernight. Evernight is a city of crackstone, eldritch edifices, homes of rotten wood, and the roads are mainly made of trampled grape dust in its few cobbled streets. But yeah, the few cobbled streets are missing enough stones that they appear postmarked. The sky is corpse gray, breeze blows cold, humid, and brings a chill to the skin. The city's residents include mad necromancers, corrupt purveyors of human flesh, worshippers of evil deities, such as like Tiamat, for example, and others who make themselves useful and crazy enough to want to live here. Hi, Wretched.
Hi, Wretched. Exact.
Yeah. This is really like your and Wretched's plan, I'll be real. But
I
yeah.
don't know if that's good or bad.
But yeah, the living are a minority in Evernight, basically mainly consisting of like zombies, rights, vampires, and other undead to make the city their home, and under the watchful eyes of the ruling castle, intelligent flesh-eating ghouls. Rumors abound that this foul place mirrors one city on every world, including like including some cities that you've seen, such as like maybe Dosbury has an evil area ruled over by a shadow dragon. So, any questions on the city of Evernight or any other domains of dread?
Not right now.
Okay. So how are you doing so far? Like any of this sinking in to where like you have any extra ideas? Or are
No
you just
ideas
like drawing blank?
yet. I'm just trying to follow along.
Alright. Uh so that's it for the main ones. And do you want to hear about the optional rule with the Shadowfell Despair?
It sounds like something where we should banish Ratchet to.
Fair enough. Yeah, we can add the Shadowfell Despair and see about banishing Wretched there. So basically, the Shadowfell Despair is a melancholic atmosphere you typically found around you. Yeah, but extended.
Ouch!
Well, let's be real. You normally try to depress people. That's your
I'm
thing.
not trying to depress people, it just happens.
Exactly. That's my point. For reference, we're friends, and we typically bully him with things like this. So don't worry. But yeah, extended forays as to this playing can affect characters with despair, or as reflected in the optional rule. When I deem it appropriate, usually not more than once per day, I can require you guys, if you're not native to the Shadowfell, to make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw. On failure, the character is affected by despair. There's the D6 to determine the effects. I can substitute a different despair effects of my own creation, and if I so choose. If a character is already suffering a despair effect and fails the saving throw, the new despair effect will replace the old one. Keep that in mind. After finishing a long rest, the character can attempt to overcome the despair with a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. The DC is higher because it's harder to shake off the despair once it's taken hold. Unsuccessful save, the despair effect ends. And Calm Emotions does remove the despair, as does any other spell or magical effect that removes a curse. Got all that?
Yep.
Okay, so as for the various spellers that they have, on a 1 to 3, it is Apathy. So the character has disadvantage on death saving throws and on dexterity checks for initiative and gains the following flaw. I don't believe I can make a difference to anyone or anything. Why do I feel like that sounds like you? At least in a certain sense.
And again, ouch!
4 or 5, we got Dread. So the character has disadvantage on all saving throws and gains the following flaw. I'm convinced that this place is going to kill me. That sounds like all of you, though.
Yeah.
And that's not, without even going to the Shadowfell. Like, the moment I have you guys go through a Shadow Crossing, I feel like you guys are just like, I am immediately convinced that this place is going to kill me.
Now, think about why. Intent.
I'm not totally evil all the time. Am I?
Maybe 99% of the time.
Are you sure? Have you seen your inventory, sir? Or did you just not even notice that you have an extra item in your inventory?
No comment! I totally didn't notice.
And we played a few sessions between when I added it and now.
And I didn't notice it yet.
Clearly not. Anyway, so on a 6, we got Madness, where the character has disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws that use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma against the following flaw. I can't tell what's real anymore. I don't know who that. I know that it sounds like one of you guys. I just don't know who.
Ratchet, and that most likely since the beginning of the campaign.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. So that's the main information on the Shadowfell. Uh, Also in the Shadowfell, like I said, is the Raven Queen. Um, Anything you want to talk about with the Shadowfell before we go a little bit more in depth into the actual uh Raven Queen stuff?
All good.
What was that?
All good. So far,
All right.
I guess.
So, I take it you still don't know anything about the Raven Queen or the title, correct?
All my trivial knowledge about the Raven Queen is that originally she was supposed to be a Warlock Patron, but that's it.
Fair enough. To be fair, she still could be a warlock patron. I think I actually have. I think I have a subclass. No, actually, I do not. Uh, she is with the Shatter Kai though. So the Shatter Kai absolutely obey her. Uh, For reference, they are the Shadowkai are actually elves as well from the Shadowfell, believe it or not. Uh, we might talk about them here in a bit. But anyway, onto the Raven Queen, and she is also known as the Matron of Death, which I believe you saw. I believe you heard me talk about that with the Delph stream, if you remember.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Because I did say it in her chat, and she was like, I find it funny that she immediately thought that you were going to die with these plots.
I wonder why.
Well, yes, I'm directly having you aid it. I don't know why she thought that it would be immediately harmful to you. But anyway, I digress. So with the Raven Queen, she is the master of the skin of fate and mistress of winter. She is the god of death. Her gaze follows and marks the end of mortal life, watching over the border between life and death, ensuring natural transition is undefiled. So think of her as the Grim Reaper, basically. Many funerals ask her blessing to protect the deceased from the terrible curse of undeath. Those who study believe she was once mortal herself, and is the only known mortal to ascend to godhood. Her rise instantly obliterated the previous, now forgotten god of death, and other gods quickly and fearfully destroyed the secrets to the rite of ascension. The Raven Queen tugs at the threads of fate from her stronghold of a black ice within the frozen realm of Thethra, nestled in a frigid corner of the Shadowfell. Anything on that jumps out to you to talk about?
Nope.
Okay. So the depiction of her has actually variations. Like there's a few. Many temples merely use a raven as the symbol of her blessing. Few illustrations of her portray a tall, pale woman dangling black linens with her face obscured by a white porcelain mask and her onyx black her onyx black hair straight and never ending. So, anything you want to talk about with her appearance and stuff like that? Or should I just take it as a no?
You can take it as a no.
Okay. So the holy day of the Raven Queen is actually called the Night of Ascension, celebrating her apostasis. The actual date of her rise to divinity is unclear, but the Night of Ascension is celebrated on the 13th day of the 10th month. So kind of fitting. Let's be real. what was once a night of cheery celebration and of the dead in the Dwelling Empire has recently become an occasion to burn effigies and decry the Kyran dynasty for their unnatural relationship with death. Uh, Anything that you want to talk about with the Holy Day?
Not right now, but I have it noted down in case it will be useful later.
I mean, we can talk about it like right now if you want to discuss anything with it. I mean, the whole point of this is to discuss. So if you have things to
That's why
say,
I said in case anything comes. I'm not a spontaneous person.
fair enough. Yeah. So you're kind of one of those ones where it's like, yeah, just here's a note, and oh, hey, that relates to the singer from earlier,
Sounds
right?
about right.
All right. So the commandments of the Raven Queen and is death is the natural end of life. There is no pity for those who have fallen. The path of fate is synchronicet. Those who privately attempt to cast off their destiny must be punished. Undeath is atrocity. Those who would pervert the transition of the soul must be brought down. So yeah, if you try, you might be getting onto the bad side of the Raven Queen here soon.
Oh boy!
Um. So, anything with that jump out at you as something interesting to talk about? Other than the fact that you might get onto the bad side of the Raven Queen.
I mean, the list of who we didn't get on the bad side of yet would be shorter.
No, actually not. Really the only one that you're really on the bad side of, at least in particular, is the Amethyst Dragon that you guys keep dealing with things with. Like, I swear, you guys keep pissing her off, literally for just the sake of pissing her off.
It's not intentional, at least not on my part. It could be sold as an honest mistake.
That's not what the dragon thinks. All that matters is what the dragon thinks. It does not matter like what you guys are doing, and all that matters is what does the dragon think of. So yeah. Again, that's actually that's the last bit of things from the Raven Queen. Unless you want me to talk about like how she actually is in terms of like clerics. I don't know about whether or not you're interested in like being a cleric of the Raven Queen. Or not.
For now, I'm still happy with the God of Mischief. Which is kind of fitting considering what we are doing.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly fitting that, to be essentially like just a cleric underneath a freaking Loki.
Yeah,
Plus,
I
to be
just need to
fair,
do more backstabbing.
I mean, you kind of are doing that to Wretched. Let's be real. Because like you
Not
are just.
intentional. Wink, wink.
I mean, he's trying to die, and you're trying to prevent him from death. So you are kind of
Yeah, I mean,
screwing.
metagaming wise, I'm backstabbing him. In game wise, oh shit, my friend is getting dragged into a hell portal.
Yes, very
So
true.
yeah.
Very true. Yeah. Uh, so let's see. So okay, that's the same thing that I've already read. I'm not gonna go through that again. So now it's time to go into the Shatter Kai. I take you don't remember anything about the Shatter Kai.
corpse-ish elf followers of the Raven Queen, to keep it short. That's all.
That's better than what I thought you would remember.
I'm not that dumb!
You really want to go there?
Don't. No. Bad.
I mean, I have countless stories of me saying something and then you doing like exactly what you should have done.
Oh. Right now I have the wiki page of the Shadow Kai open. I hate that the personality kinda calls me out, mouthful and joyless.
Yeah, exactly. That you are basically just a Shatter Kai, just minus the elf ears. And plus, I don't think that you're
the Raven Queen.
Yeah, you're not a follower of the Raven Queen, and then like I believe also with the Shatter Kai, that they're like maybe your skin tone is different, but like at least personality wise, like you are very much a Shatter Kai.
Well, thanks, I guess.
I mean, hey, that just means that Shatter Kai and Shadowfell are perfect for you to talk about because they're morbid just like you.
And again, ouch!
You already say that, like, you're German. You go and say consistently that, like, German humor is morbid humor.
That to be true.
Yeah. So then your humor is basically just as the Shadowfell humor. But
And that makes it worse.
well, that means that you also have perfect excuse to talk about this. So just talk about, like, we could technically make it just like your home country. Let's be real. Because also when sorry,
if
go.
we ignore summer, you said mostly gray. Everything that's not summer sounds very fitting. 90% of the time it's cloudy, very gray, depressing, and around 12 degrees Celsius.
Fair, yeah. And plus, when these people go and have fun, it's usually not fun for the rest of the people.
No, we don't go there. Don't go there.
What do you mean? Their idea of fun is conquering people and just like other dark, depressing things.
That's why I said we don't go there.
That's the neat part. If you guys are ever within the shadow, such as nighttime, you guys can go there anyway.
No, I mean the joke-wise part.
Fair.
Also funny, thinking about it. German mythology has something similar to the Raven Queen.
Really?
Queen of Ghosts, also known as Morrigan. Very similar thing.
Okay. I actually think I have actually seen a yeah, I believe that a card game by the name of Eternal Destiny actually, believe it or not, has Morgan on it. So that's actually kind of interesting to bring her up.
Yeah.
But yeah. The Raven Queen, for reference, like I said earlier, is a being of dark mystery. Accomplished wizards talk about her in hushed tones and with no small amount of fear. They can't even say what power she wields in her realms, too subtle for more minds' sense. Rumors abound as to her current form, most coming from claims as made by lunatics who have described an array of disturbing images as a terrible shadow that clawed at their inherent thoughts, a pale and regal elf to explode into untold number of ravens, a shambling and tangle of slick roots and sticks that overwhelmed them with dread, or an unknown presence that pulled them screaming and blindly into the room. Into the gloom. So, Anything
Wanna
you
know
want?
something that makes it funnier?
What?
The Phantom Queen, Morrigan. Mainly associated with war, fate, doom, death, commonly depicted as a crow.
So she fits right in. Maybe Morgan is the Raven Queen. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, despite all attempts to demystify the Raven Queen, and she has remained enigmatic and aloof. Immersed in a sea of questions, she rules from a raven throne within the fortress of memories. It is a maze-like castle deep within the bleakness of the Shadowfell. From there, she sends out her ravens to find interesting souls she can pluck from various planes of existence. Once they are in the Shadowfell, she watches as these souls attempt to unravel the mystery of their being and utterly go mad in the process. So, anything like that anything jump out to you as interesting to talk about there? Uh,
I'm still trying to process it.
I mean, fair. Like, I am surprised that Wretched could somewhat talk about, the Nine Hells when I talked about it with him. Joker so far has had the easiest one. He just has an organization, so uh, like at least you two have the excuse of you guys don't have just an organization to talk about or to decide. You have straight up planes and so you need to actually like uncover. Uh, so yeah, it is what it is. Uh, so do you know anything about the origin of the Raven Queen?
Not really.
Wow, really? I said it a bit earlier, like she ascended to godhood. Are you surprised you
Yeah,
forgot
but
that?
that part is. I thought you were referring to more than that.
Oh no, that was actually just to the Raven Queen. But yeah. Those who seek to unravel the meaning of the Raven Queen and the story of her origin comes from the ancient history of the elves. It is said that she was once a elf queen whose people loved her more than they loved the gods. Her true name has been lost to time, but from the fragments that have been found of her library, it was she who, when Corlin and Loth were locked in conflict, tried to use the souls and magic of her people to elevate herself to godly status, thus salvaging the fractured pantheon of the elves. Afterwards, the legend suggests she would attempt to implore Coralon and Lorith to come to their senses, but the information in these false fragments was woefully incomplete, and the Queen's true motive were never fully understood. Uh, so it is sort of like German lords are that kind of things like that.
Not that I can think of.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, so then let's move on to the descent into the shadow. As the queen rose in power, many elves became inspired by her, freely offering their souls and magical abilities to help her achieve her goal. This group of devoted followers called themselves the Shadow Kai. They gathered others like themselves around their queen in hopes that once she achieved divinity, she would unify all of the elves. The queen's plans was to use all the souls of the Shadow Kai to forge a pathway through the Feywild to Arbador, all the while increasing her influence. And do not ask me about Arbador. I do not actually know anything about that. That's the first time I've heard about it. Any questions with that?
Nope.
I am surprised that you didn't just jokingly ask about what was Arbador.
I'm not that either.
Fair, fair. Yeah, it's definitely something that Wretched or Joker would have done. I'll be real though. uh, As the numbers of Shadowkai grew, the consortium of evil wizards among her followers saw an opportunity to siphon off the energy of the Shadowkai for themselves by performing their own self-serving ritual, which would impart to them magical powers beyond those of the great elven wizards of legend. But as the queen approached the entrance to Arbor, she realized what the wizards were doing and brought all of her wrath down upon them as the ritual was underway. Because she was by now a quasi-divine being, her supernatural rage corrupted the ritual into a phenomena that took a terrible strength of its own. By the time the queen realized her error, she could feel the now twisted magical energy grabbing hold of her, and she was powerless to stop it. In a panic, she reached out to the souls of the Shadowkai for more power, hoping to save herself. But the gravity of the spell had become irresistible. It pulled the queen and all who were under her sway into the Shadowfell, where she was instantly killed. From her ruined mind and body, the Raven Queen was born. So, anything with that?
Not really.
Okay, I was about to ask, like, okay, are you just like absolutely lost, or just still like taking notes and stuff?
A bit of both.
Fair enough. I will also let you know that, like, as far as I can tell,
running out of paper, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really? Really? I actually am surprised you're running out of paper. So with the creation of the Nagpas, when their ritual failed with the catastrophic results, the wizard of the Consortium were pulled into the Shadowfell along with the queen and the Shadowkai. But their misfortune didn't end there. The former queen arose from the center of maze of ash and let loose a scream of elven smoke that penetrated the flesh and minds of the wizards, turning their bones black, lacerating their souls. Their cries of agony merged with their own, and when their scream faded, the wizards had been mutated and warped into the scabrous, butcherous creatures known as the Nagpas. Now they wander the plains as wretched monsters, marked forever by the Raven Queen's curse, and banished from her presence. So, anything about the Nagpas?
1 sec, still taking notes.
Fair enough. I do have slight notes as well. I guess we can compare notes later and see if there's anything we wish to talk about after that. So moving on after to actually, yeah, have you got all the notes that you're wanting with that? To move on to the after the fall.
Yep.
So after the fall, the Nagpas were created and then banished by the Raven Queen, the Shadowkai watched as she fell deeper and deeper into divine madness. Pain and turmoil over the betrayal of her wizards, the destruction of her kingdom, and her failure at attaining godhood all contributed to her descent into a unquenchable sorrow. At the same time, the energy of the corrupted ritual was still transforming her, breaking and down her form from a physical one into an entity composed of symbols, images, and perceptions. To keep herself from dissipating entirely into nothingness, the queen used the last vestiges of her personal power to pull dead memories from the Shadowfell about her, creating a cloak of identities that sustained her. Over centuries, those dark memories accumulated and coalesced to give shape to the entity now known as the Raven Queen. And I take you at least somewhat got all of that? Or is it just that you're like entirely like lost on all this?
I'm still kind of keeping up.
Fair. That's better than what I thought. So anyway, into the Fortress of Memories. So, since attaining divinity, the Raven Queen has filled her realm with shadows. and memories, essentially collecting such essences from the remnants of dead gods and mortals that were strewn throughout the Shadowfell. From these metaphysical fragments, she formed her new home, a twisted cow, so the Shadowkai called the Fortress of Memories. The fortress is a mournful place, filled with incessant echoes of the past. Flocks of ravens that act as her eyes and ears darken the skies around it from when they emerge from within, burying her cryptic messages and omens far and wide across the multiverse. Anything that you have to say about that, or any or does that this seem like your home?
This sounds kind of reasonable, but why did we throw Odin into the mix?
Is Odin actually like a dead god?
Not a dead god, but using ravens as his eyes and ears.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, not gonna lie, that does kind of sound like a home. Like, I could totally see that being your home. Let's be real.
Well, thank you.
I mean, hey, this one it's somewhat of a compliment. Like, you have a bunch of ravens that are like keeping an eye on everything around your home.
Yay! Oh, thanks. Ravens have a tendency to steal my lunch. Happen more often than you want to know. I should stop having lunch outside.
Yeah, it's like letting a raven steal your lunch once is like shame on the raven. The second time is shame on you. Third time, you're just trying to give the raven your lunch. And you question why we say that you don't eat.
I try to.
Yeah, but then you try to give your lunch away to ravens.
I'm not trying to.
I mean, it just seems like you are trying to be the Raven Queen, or I guess the Raven King in your case. But yeah. Anyway, with the bizarre menagerie within the Forest of Memories are trinkets and items that the Raven Queen finds irresistible. Memories plucked from people's past that have been invested with deep feelings of pain, sorrow, longing, guilt, or remorse. These items are brought back to her as gifts from the Shadowkai. These trinkets can include furniture, clocks, mirrors, jewels, and toys. Probably broken mirrors, let's be real. And also appearing in the fortress are ghostly visions of people, places, and pets. You have any dead pets that might be in there, over there, Justin?
Oh? That's a weirdly specific question.
I mean, like, I surely have, like, some dead pets that might be in there.
No?
Okay, fair enough. Any of these things can spontaneously appear about her later. Every object and apparition being a metaphoric representation of some story, great or small, that was saturated with raw emotion. So, anything about the Fortress of Memories, or should we just go to encountering the Raven Queen, which yes might actually have happened unintentionally?
Oh boy!
I mean, you already know that that apparently the Raven Queen is not going to like your antics. Like at this point, it's almost which is worse, like dealing with wretched Florida man or dealing with the pissed off Raven Queen.
Take the pissed off queen goddess of death. Thank you
Really?
very much.
Okay, I kind of want to hear this. Like, why are you so afraid of Florida man that you're willing to take on the Raven Queen?
Well, would you rather die to something or die to a lot of things that something made angry? I like the quick and painless way.
No, sir, like you forget the Raven Queen if she's pissed off at you and wanting you to die, she will painfully torture and make you suffer. Think of her as like me placing you onto Eva's Delight 4.
Yeah, but can it be that much worse than a flock? Would it be a flock of dragons? A herd of dragons? You get my drift.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just think that like it's a lot worse to piss off the Raven Queen than like East or like dragons and stuff like that. Because like you never know, the Raven Queen might make Eve's like 5 and just force you to play. You had to play it and test it with like infinite time.
That's really specific.
And also, by the way, while also having infinite strokes and infinite time, you also would not be able to forfeit. Like she could probably force that type of suffering upon you.
You were kind of cutting out. Can you repeat it, please?
Like infinite, like it was like 5 or 4 if you want to be technical with that, and then just like have it be infinite time, infinite strokes, and then no forfeiting. Like isn't that kind of worse than dealing with the dragon?
Depends.
I mean, Eva's Light 5 is going to be a lot worse than the dragon. Let's be. It's going to be less worse than Eva's Light 4. Let's be real. There's a reason why we've got several people to be like, yeah, no, screw Waffles. We'll agree with Wretched and screw her over when previously we are like, don't be more mean to poor Waffles. Anyway, enough on that tangent. So, mortals that enter the Raven Queen's realm are almost instantly confronted with a glimpse into their own internal landscape. Because she is fascinated with emotions, the Raven Queen worms into the unconscious minds and memories of her visitors, bringing forth visions from the deepest reaches of their psyches, such as an ancient spider dragon.
Thank God I never got to meet this guy. Pick whatever god you liked, I'm thanking right now.
Loki could probably go just like show you an ancient spider dragon.
No!
Some of these visitors
Loki would become the ancient spider dragon. That's like his thing.
fair, yeah. But yeah, some visitors are the unwitting souls of the departed people who have been pulled into the Raven Queen's clutches. Others are astral visitors who are caught and trapped within the Shadowfell by her magic. But a rare few come of their own volition, seeking knowledge or freedom from dark paths. Many of these daring individuals are adventurers such as yourself, who know of the Raven Queen's terrifying power, yet nonetheless travel to the Shadowfell to undergo her trial, letting the secrets of letting the secrets of their souls be unfolded and revealed. The reason why folks subject themselves to the dangerous experience are numerous, including to free themselves from a dark and terrible past. So, hi Link. Does that not just sound like a plot from Zelda?
It kind of does.
Yeah, I mainly think about like Majora's Mask. Like, you've suffered a dark and terrible fate.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is said that the Raven Queen can make you confront your fears. So technically, you don't even need to see an ancient spider dragon.
You really love the ancient spider dragon, don't you?
Well, it's something you all fear. So, hi. Of course I'm going to mention it repeatedly.
It's not fear, it's disgust. Something with more than 4 legs is unnatural. Something with more than 4 legs and wings and is able to spit fire is unnatural.
Some find a way to move beyond the fears, but others can be driven mad. And to discover the secret of someone who's dead, adventurers might need to go to the Shadowfell to find a soul that has been claimed by the Raven Queen, hoping to unlock its memories. It is to seek answers that only the Raven Queen might know. The Raven Queen's realm contains innumerable memories from all over the multiverse. Desperate adventurers might seek her out as a last resort or be led to her realm by a series of tempting clues. So technically, you guys can use the Shadowfell with the Raven Queen and to help you with their cases.
Sounds like a bad last resort idea.
I mean, is it really a worse case than like being absolutely lost with like where Heimlich is or something like that?
I mean, not really, but the price is high.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Wow, there's a lot more on this Raven Queen than I thought. So, method or madness. Some wizards and other scholars have speculated that the Raven Queen is simply insane. There is no method to her madness other than nervous pecking apart of a psyche that with no more motivation, no more motive than a curious child pulling at the legs of an ant. And others have speculated the Raven Queen needs the gravity of emotions to hold her emotionally decaying identity together. Few sages have postulated that the Raven Queen's purpose is of greater importance, that she serves as a filter of sorts, cleansing souls that cling to fear and pain, forcing them to confront their unfinished business so that they are freed from their mortal baggage and can rise to explore higher planes of existence. And anything on that?
Not right now.
Alright, so a quest to the Fortress of Memories. Because the Raven Queen has godlike power, she can put adventuring party inside a game plane that is created from the psyche of one of the characters. On entering the Fortress of Memories or encountering the Raven Queen, a character can find themselves transported to a strange fairy tale world, pulled from their experiences, filled with metaphors, parables, and allegories, all of which challenge that character's frailties, fears, and desires. Much can be learned from adventuring within the fortress and undergoing the Raven Queen's test, but much can also be lost. Many adventurers never return from the fortress, forever trapped within a world created from their own experience. So, anything with that is interesting?
If we get dragged into a world created based on Ratchet's mind, we are screwed.
I mean, Wretched would probably just force you onto this place. Anyway, let's be real.
I know!
Heck, I'm surprised that he hasn't tried to force you all into the Shadowfell.
Yet.
I mean, he hasn't tried jumping into shadows and stuff yet.
I mean, if we keep him from dying long enough, he might try.
I mean, to be fair, after this goes up, he might listen to it, hear this thing randomly, and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, let me go try to let me go just investigate each and every shadow for a shadow crossing."
Yay.
So yeah, I should probably start playing the Shadow Palette as well.
Yeah, you should.
Or at least a map for the Shadow Palette. Anyway, since we are running out of time, I do want to kind of have some more things stated. So, anything from your notes that you say needs more discussion?
Not really.
Okay. So then, I am curious actually about what do your notes say? Like what notes? What are some of the things that are in your actual thing?
Just some trivia, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, I also, like, we also planned for this, and I hadn't at all expected it, so I never talked about, well, never brought, like, the bullet points of the Rave Queen thing. Um, but have you actually filled out your page yet, Mr. Analog German Man?
Considering it's those small post-it notes, I have a lot of them.
How many
I
small
was
post-it
totally not prepared, okay?
I don't think either of us were prepared, let's be real. How many post-it notes do you have then? Because I'm curious.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.5.
Why is it I feel like you're going to forget about all of these when we next have a session in like 2 weeks' time?
You mean just like the notes tab on the character sheet?
Yeah, exactly. Have you even used that either?
The only note in there is from you, and it's for idea to how to implement Dragon Patreon Warlock. And it's more likely I will lose those notes than that I forget about them.
Okay, so how many turns before they go into like the shadow film then?
Considering sometimes stuff just randomly, magically drops behind my desk, I give it a week.
So you're saying that an entire week is going to be the time before those notes enter the shadow belt.
At most, yes.
Alright.
I'm a very messy person for a German, I know.
Totally, we did have the Raven Queen's influence and servants of the Queen, but as like I told you an hour, I'd rather not go over said hour. So, I guess that we just call it here before we get into like the influence and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe next time maybe we're gonna do a part 2 of this and actually have more to talk about than just the actual lore itself. But yeah, and nothing else. Thanks for like joining me for this. Like, I for those that don't know, like we've been like hanging out for like what the last like 3.5 hours or so.
1 sec, it's almost 8. Yeah, about right.
Yeah. uh, so like, there's definitely a lot of things that we did. But thanks for joining me on this. We like definitely will be interested to do the more on the shadow belt at some point. I probably will see about doing like the influence. The only sad thing is though, that like we probably should go and like I probably should send you about some things that we might that might be interesting to talk about with the plane, and based off of like this time because like yeah, seeing what we have left, uh um oh yeah, we're basically done with it. Like we're like after we get through the influence and service of the queen, and we are done with lore. So after that, it's basically just like whatever else we talk about. So uh, we'll see about whether we do a tour two. Anything else you want to say before we are done here?
Not of importance.
All right. So if you want to see me do more things, or yap about basically anything. I do have a Twitch. Feel free to follow that. I do this specifically as D&D focus because there's a lot to talk about with D&D, and there's a lot to plot about, such as with Justin here. Well, now we'll plot something else later. I guess we'll discuss that. So don't be surprised if this is the last time we hear about the Shadowfield. But don't be surprised if we do go talk more about the Shadowfield at a later date. Just probably not today. But hopefully you all enjoy all of these plots. And I should hopefully see you back next week at 8 a.m. or so, or rather 11 a.m. Eastern, and for another episode of this podcast. So yeah, new episodes of this are always at that time. Do note. However, I'll ultimately see everyone wherever next see you all, or basically wherever you might get your podcasts that I've uploaded this to, at least. Wrong way then.